And today we're reacting to how every cartel boss died. Cartel, bruh. If y'all have ever been to my More Astral Dior channel, you know we fear them, man, bruh. We just say, we let them know, hey, we don't want no issues. Please leave our skin on our body. Lay it on, man. Let's get to the video, bro.
Yen, known as Tony Tormenta, had taken over leadership of the Gulf Cartel after his brother OCL was arrested. But at the same time, Los Zetas, once the cartel's armed wing, had broken away and turned into its deadliest enemy. Tony commanded his own private army called Los Escorpiones, a squad made up of ex-police officers trained in heavy weapons and brutal tactics, so brutal that he caught the attention of the Mexican Marines. For months, they tracked him across Tamaulipas, nearly catching him several times, but each time he escaped, protected by convoys of gunmen and armored vehicles. By late
Had tanks? Jesus Christ. These niggas just be established, bro.
2010, however, the government made his capture a top priority, and Matamoros, his home city and stronghold, became the main battlefield. On the morning of November 5th, 2010, more than 660 Marines, backed by helicopters and armored vehicles, surrounded downtown Matamoros. Roadblocks went up, cell service was cut, and power went out in parts of the city. For hours, residents hid in fear as gunmen fought openly in the streets. Gulf Cartel sicarios hijacked buses to block military convoys. Snipers fired from rooftops, and over 300 grenades exploded during the clashes. By the afternoon, the Marines had located Tony in a downtown building. Helicopters fired from above, and the military pushed through. As they got in, they eliminated.
It got so serious that we kind of said, hey, whoever, if you're innocent, just stay out the way. Jesus! If you're innocent, stay out the way. We are trying to capture somebody. I'm sorry. And that was it. You just had to get with the business or get blown up. I be feeling for these people in these places, bro.
Eliminated Tony and several of his bodyguards. Across Tamaulipas and beyond, new roadblocks, grenade attacks, and shootouts erupted as news of his death spread. Los Zetas celebrated, hanging banners mocking the Gulf Cartel and inviting Tony's men to switch sides. El Mexicano. By 1989, Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha, also known as El Mexicano, was one of the most feared leaders of the Medellin cartel. But by then, he had gone to war with almost everyone: the Colombian government, the DEA, the Cali cartel, FARC guerrillas, and even old allies in the emerald trade. His empire was falling apart, and his enemies had started working together to bring him down. The final hunt began when a police informant, secretly working for the Cali cartel, revealed his location. The police traced him to Cartagena, but he slipped away by boat to Tolu with his son Freddy and several others. Unfortunately for him, one of them was the same informant still passing information to the authorities. On December 15th, 1989,
Boy, he lucky as hell. Boy! That is a lucky man that it didn't backfire, bro. Because the way they be doing people that cop informants, the way they do informants is scary business.
Military helicopters carrying elite police units launched the attack. And at first, Gacha and his men tried to hide by dressing as farm workers. But when helicopters circled overhead, they ran to a red truck and attempted to escape. A running gunfight followed across the countryside, until, near a group of trees, some of his bodyguards and his son Freddy exchanged fire with police.
Guerrilla warfare
Gacha, with one bodyguard left, kept fleeing in the truck until they abandoned it and tried to escape on foot through a banana plantation. Cornered and wounded, Gacha fired at a helicopter with a German submachine gun. His shots gave away his position, and the police answered with bursts of machine gun fire from above. A bullet struck him in the leg, bringing him down, and moments later another hit him in the face, killing him. 2 days later, on December 17th, thousands of people gathered in his hometown of Pacho for his funeral. Estimates put the crowd as high as
15,000 people. And that's the confusing part too. It's like they do be doing stuff for the community as well, to the point where 15,000 people will pull up and show love, but it just gets so vicious.
15,000. Pacho Herrera. In 1996, Helmer Herrera, one of the 4 leaders of the Cali cartel known as Pacho, surrendered to Colombian authorities after the other Cali bosses had been arrested. Unlike the Rodriguez Orejuela brothers, he operated more in the shadows, rarely appearing in public, and almost never being mentioned by name. But this didn't prevent him from having enemies, even while in prison. Herrera and the whole Cali cartel had long been in conflict with the Norte del Valle cartel, a powerful offshoot of Cali, and rumors spread that Herrera had betrayed their leader, Orlando Henao, by giving information to the DEA. On November 6, 1998, during a football match inside the prison, Rafael Angel Uribe Serna entered the field. Uribe was not a stranger. He had been close to Herrera for years and even worked as an advisor. Herrera reportedly stopped the game and went to greet him. They hugged, and at that moment, Uribe suddenly pulled out a gun and shot Herrera 7 times in the head.
Shoo.
Other inmates caught him, and guards took him away. But Herrera died soon after in the hospital. Uribe later claimed Herrera had threatened his family after he failed to kill an emerald tycoon on Herrera's orders, but investigators doubted this. Many believed Uribe was acting under orders from the Norte del Valle cartel themselves. Arturo Beltran Leyva. Marcos Arturo Beltran Leyva, once called El Jefe de Jefes, or the Boss of Bosses, by his gunmen, had risen inside the Sinaloa cartel with his brothers by running security and drug routes for El Chapo. But after his brother Alfredo was arrested in 2008, the Beltran Leyva clan blamed El Chapo for betraying them. They broke away, formed their own cartel, and allied with Los Zeta.
Okay, this is making more sense, right? So I've seen a lot of these videos where they talk about how the cartel, people break off of certain cartels and they start doing their own thing to essentially do this, and then those people that broke off end up getting captured, and then, like I said, they start getting put in vats of acid and, you know what I'm saying, hung from buildings and stuff like that, right? It's all for a reasoning. It seems like they blamed them for the arrest of somebody else, and so now they want to do their own thing, and now they start clicking up with the Los Zetas, how we're saying here. Okay, it makes sense. Because at first I was like, bro, this is just for money and stuff like that. Yo, it's not worth the potential risk, bro. And it's not worth being a part of cartel, period, because it's just so violent.
Which were enemies of El Chapo, turning Mexico into a battlefield between former partners. Arturo led with brutality, filling the country with assassins, bribing officials, and spreading terror. So by late 2009, the Mexican government had made him one of its top targets. On December 11th, Arturo threw a lavish Christmas party at a mansion in Cuernavaca, but Mexican Navy Special Forces raided the house.
Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm back again. And I've been putting a lot of people on to this program called Free Cash for a while now. Check out one of my supporters that had the biggest payout that I've seen yet from all the DMs y'all sent. And I promise you, they've been hitting me up saying that they've tried it and it's worked. They've been getting cashed out, and I love to hear that because it genuinely actually works. And don't think I have not been seeing y'all's comments saying things like it doesn't work, Dior supporting a finesse, they're trying to take your data, and it's not true at all. And the fact that y'all would think that I would even put that on a video to get y'all finessed is wild to me. But hey, first off, Free Cash does not sell your data. They strictly track your progress to make sure you can get paid. Only sign up with an email and password and give no personal information. So I don't know what y'all are talking about. Here's how it goes. You sign up through my link, and inside you see a list of apps and games. Download them, play, and beat the levels that they tell you. That's the key. You got to complete the requirement. And once you hit the level, the system credits your account. And every time you finish, you get real money. Cash out to your PayPal or get a gift card, while it also being free of charge. The games pay Free Cash to get new players, and Free Cash just shares the money with y'all for trying it out. It may take a little time to get a huge payout, but if you're gonna be on your phone playing games anyway, you might as well make $5 to $10 doing the same thing. I don't want to hold y'all any longer, and I hope I've cleared up some things if you've been sitting on the fence. Hit the link, try a few games, and then DM me. Let me know that you've been winning, actually getting your money. Like I showed y'all earlier, bro made $1,000 off of Free Cash. I'm not promising that's gonna happen every day for y'all, but the fact that there's a possibility for doing something that y'all already do should really be all the convincing that you need, bro.
Sparking a firefight that killed 3 of his men and a neighbor. Arturo escaped, but 5 days later, intelligence led the Navy to another luxury apartment where Arturo was hiding. This time, they came with a crazy amount of force. Around 200 Marines, backed by tanks and helicopters, surrounded the building. A 90-minute gun battle followed. Arturo's men hurled grenades to hold them off, but Marines repelled from helicopters and stormed the building. When it was over, Arturo and 3 of his men were dead. The aftermath was bloody. Days later, gunmen assassinated family members of Melchizedek Angulo Cordova, the Marine killed in the raid, murdering his mother and relatives.
Oh my God. Oof. See, going after my Dukes? My Dukes ain't have nothing to do with it, by the way. My Dukes and his what?
After his funeral. Then, a banner left at a kindergarten warned of more reprisals.
Oh, God.
El Señor de los Cielos. On July 4th, 1997, Amado Carrillo Fuentes, known as El Señor de los Cielos, or Lord of the Skies, for the huge fleet of jets he used to move cocaine, entered a private hospital in Mexico City to change his face, and you'll soon understand why. By then, he was the most powerful drug lord in Mexico, head of the Juarez cartel, and worth an estimated $25 billion.
Then you start hearing numbers like this, bro. Jesus! And you start saying, this might be a little bit worth it. $25 billion. You know what I saw recently? And I'm sure y'all probably saw it too on TikTok. It's going viral. But it was a video showing the actual quantity of $1 trillion. They said To count to 1 billion, it would take 33 years or 32 years. To count to 1 million, it would take, 12 days? All humanly possible. To count to 1 trillion, it would take 33,000 years. Just to put in the quantity of the amount of money. Somebody with $1 trillion could spend $1 every single day for 33,000 years. It's not humanly possible. See what I'm saying? It's crazy.
But pressure against him was growing. Both U.S. and Mexican authorities were closing in, and ordinary Mexicans had started protesting the politicians that allowed traffickers like him to operate. Carrillo, while on the run, believed surgery could buy him time. At Santa Monica Hospital, he underwent major plastic surgery on his face, along with liposuction to change his appearance, but the operation didn't go as expected. Whether from a bad reaction to medication or a broken respirator, complications set in, and in the early hours of July 5th, Amado Carrillo Fuentes...
Nah, somebody finessed him. Somebody finessed him. He's in here. What do you want me to do? That's what happened, for sure. He's in here. The doctor was like, well, he's in here. What do you want me to do? Okay. Got it for sure.
Was dead. The most powerful drug trafficker in Mexico had not died in a gun battle or an ambush, but on an operating table. Rumors spread quickly, with many insisting Carrillo had faked his death to escape justice. The government was forced to publicly display his body to silence the speculation. Months later, the two surgeons who had performed the operation were found murdered. The Juarez Cartel...
Damn, that's tough, bro. You a doctor. You're a doctor. You ain't got nothing to do with this shit. He wanted me to do this procedure, bro. I couldn't do it. I thought I did it right. But they knew what it was. They knew they got him whacked on purpose.
Cartel fell into chaos almost immediately, and a bloody fight for control of what Carrillo had left behind started. Ramon Arellano Felix. Being one of the leaders of the Tijuana cartel and being known as the cartel's enforcer, Ramon had built a reputation as one of the most ruthless traffickers in Mexico. He personally ordered massacres, including the 1998 slaughter of 19 members of the Castro Ramirez family. Brutal acts like this made him stand out, which is why by the late 1990s, Ramon was high on Mexico's most wanted lists. In 1997, he was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives, charged with importing cocaine and marijuana into the United States. Later, under the Kingpin Act, his U.S. assets were frozen, and American citizens were banned from doing business with him. Still, Ramon continued to operate in Mexico, but on February 10, 2002, while he was driving in Mazatlan, a Mexican police officer, Angel Antonio Arias Torres, pulled him over for a traffic violation. What seemed like a routine stop exploded into violence. Ramon pulled a gun and shot the officer twice in the chest, mortally wounding him. Even as he collapsed, Arias Torres managed to fire back, hitting Ramon in the head and killing him instantly. Both men died in the exchange. Some accounts, however, say
that was gangster as hell, bro. Wow. Oof. One more, and then we both died. That was gangster as hell. I ain't gonna lie.
That the stop was not an accident. According to these stories, Joaquin Guzman, known as El Chapo, set up the ambush to remove one of his most dangerous rivals. If that's true, he succeeded, since Ramon's death...
I mean, that was some next level gunman shit. So maybe you hire
marked
him.
The beginning of the end for the Tijuana cartel. Just weeks later, his brother Benjamin was arrested, and within a few years, most of the Arellano Felix brothers were either captured or dead. Francisco Rafael Arellano Felix. On October 18, 2013, Francisco Rafael, the oldest of the brothers who once controlled the Tijuana cartel, was celebrating his 64th birthday in Los Cabos, and around 80 to 100 guests, including politicians, businessmen, athletes, and other VIPs, went to the party. By then, he had been out of cartel leadership for years, after getting arrested in 1993 and released in 2008. Just after 8 p.m., a man dressed as a clown walked in, and he blended in long enough to get close. When he was only 3 feet away, he pulled out a pistol and shot Francisco Rafael in the head and chest. As he fell to the floor, the gunman fired more shots before escaping through a back door to a black SUV waiting outside.
Sheesh.
Guests panicked, running for cover under tables or fleeing into the night. The motive was never fully clear. Authorities suggested it may have been revenge over old debts or rivalries, possibly tied to the Sinaloa cartel or the Beltran Leyva cartel. Some believed he had angered El Chapo by tipping off authorities about his presence in Los Cabos the year before. What made the case even more mysterious was that security at the party was unusually low, and many guests left before police could question them, leaving little evidence. El Lazca. Heriberto Lazcano was a former soldier who defected from the Mexican army and helped create Los Zetas, the armed wing of the Gulf Cartel that later broke away and became one of the most violent criminal groups in the country, as we mentioned in Tony Tormenta's section. By the late 2000s, he was one of Mexico's most wanted men, so much so that the US government offered a $5 million reward for him, while Mexico added another $2 million. His end came on October 7, 2012, when, acting on a civilian tip about armed men at a baseball game, Mexican Marines moved in. Lazcano and a body...
Do I get the 7 million? Do I get the 7 million? Is that
guard
count?
Opened fire from a white van, starting a shootout that killed both of them and one Marine. Fingerprint tests confirmed the dead man was Lazcano, making him the most powerful cartel boss killed since Mexico's drug war began in 2006. But the story didn't end there. His body was taken to a funeral home in Sabinas, Coahuila, and before officials could make the news public, a convoy of masked gunmen stormed the building, overpowered staff, and stole Lazcano's corpse. That's because in the Zetas' paramilitary culture, no man was to be left behind. His body has never been recovered. Lazcano's death cleared the way for Miguel Trevino to become the uncontested leader of Los Zetas, though he was captured less than a year later in 2013. This created an opening for rivals like El Chapo and the Sinaloa Cartel, who could now more easily expand into Zetas territory. Griselda Blanco Restrepo, known as the godmother of cocaine, was one of the most central figures in the violent Miami drug wars of the 1970s and 1980s. From an early age, she was involved in crime. Stories claim that as a child she kidnapped and even killed, and by her teenage years she was already committing theft and fraud before moving into drug trafficking. At its peak, her empire was said to bring in $80 million a month, but Blanco...
Whoa. 80 mil. I wasn't expecting that. 80 million a month? Whoa. It's a lot of months in a year now.
Remembered more for her violence. She ordered hundreds of killings, including public massacres, and she was credited with popularizing motorcycle drive-by shootings that became a cartel trademark. Not even her family was safe, as she allegedly ordered the murder of her first husband, personally shot her second husband Alberto Bravo during an argument, and had her third husband killed after a custody dispute over their son.
Yeah, the first two, the last one must not have heard about the first two. The second one must not have heard about the first one. I don't know what you got going on, but you should know. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do this. Probably not the best idea.
Michael Corleone Blanco, whom she had named after the character from The Godfather. In 1985, she was arrested in California by the DEA and released early in 2004 for health reasons and deported back to Colombia. In her later years, she was said to have turned to religion and lived as a born-again Christian. But on September 3rd, 2012, at the age of 69, while she was leaving a butcher shop in Medellin, a man on a motorcycle shot her twice in...
Somebody came through and got her. Damn, that's crazy. Wow. Just
the head. She was basically killed in the same style of assassination she had once popularized in Miami. El Chepe. On January 11th, 1996, El Chepe, whose real name was Jose Santa Cruz Londoño, had escaped from the La Picota prison in Bogota. He was one of the founding leaders of the Cali Cartel, and unlike the Medellin Cartel under Pablo Escobar, which fought openly with bombings and assassinations, Cali used a quieter approach with corruption and bribery. This seemed to work, since at its peak, the cartel supplied up to 80% of the cocaine in the world. But after Escobar's death in 1993, all eyes turned to Cali. This was made worse by the bloody war with the Norte del Valle cartel that we previously mentioned. Its leaders, together with paramilitary commander Carlos Castaño and corrupt police colonel Danilo Gonzalez, agreed that Chepe had to die. They arranged an ambush disguised as a police checkpoint, and El Chepe was shot dead on the spot. Nacho. Ignacio Coronel Villarreal, also known as Nacho Coronel, or the King of Crystal, for...
At this point, they use the act like the police method so much, you would almost think that they not stopping for the law. Like, they just gonna keep going and just say, fuck it, we just gonna have to take it to the street because they playing too many games.
His domination of methamphetamine production and trafficking was one of the most wanted men by the U.S. and Mexican government by the early 2000s. He rose to power in the 1980s with the Juarez cartel under Amado Carrillo Fuentes, but after his death, he helped strengthen the Sinaloa cartel alongside El Chapo. His niece, Emma Coronel Aispuro, later became widely known as the wife of El Chapo, but he's mostly known for his 2010 retaliation. when,
Oh,
after his
wow.
young son Alejandro was kidnapped and murdered by gunmen linked to Los Zetas, he sent more than 100 men to kill 14 people only days later. On July 29, 2010, Mexican soldiers tracked him to a luxury home in Zapopan. When troops stormed the property, he resisted. In the firefight, he killed one soldier and wounded another before being fatally shot in the head. Inside the house, soldiers seized jewelry, luxury watches, rifles, grenades, 3 vehicles, and about $7 million in cash. Pablo Escobar. It was the afternoon of December 2nd, 1993, and Pablo Escobar was hiding in a modest house in a Medellin neighborhood. For more than a year, he had been on the run after escaping from his private prison, La Catedral, where he had lived in comfort and continued his criminal operations even while locked up.
The Colombia, his private prison. Yeah, you live here, you still operate and do everything you do, but you just can't leave.
The government, with support from the United States, had been hunting him non-stop, and his rivals in the Cali Cartel also wanted him dead. His actions brought even more attention towards him, like when he bombed Avianca Flight 203 in an attempt to kill a presidential candidate, Cesar Gaviria, but instead killed more than 100 innocent people. Colombian special forces, using U.S. technology that tracked a phone call he made to his family, found him in Medellin. As police closed in, Escobar tried to escape across the rooftops with his bodyguard, but a gunfight broke out. Bullets hit him in the torso and legs, but the shot that finished it struck his head. Some believe the police fired it, while others think Escobar shot himself. His death marked the fall of the Medellin cartel, and more than 25,000 people attended his funeral. If you liked this video...
Crazy, bro. Scary, bro. All it just was like the way they be going out is really on some movie shit, bro. I mean, I guess it's the shows because we see the shows, but wow. That being said, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like the video, sub up, comment that bitch, versus the channel. I appreciate your great for y'all.